Now the last of the optional questions from Kathy Landing. Members of the American middle class are among the wealthiest people in human history, but many of them want subsidies from even wealthier Americans through student loans, discounted home mortgages, health care, and other programs. Should the federal government enable that? Kathy.
So we have a terrific middle class, hardworking folks, and I think this president has certainly been called our blue collar billionaire hero for the middle class, which is terrific. But let me just say that I am very, very strong on the fact that the answer to solving problems is almost never going to be from the federal government. And Ronald Reagan said it best, I'm here from the government and I want to help. Yeah, right. So the fact of the matter is, when we look at some of the issues like student loans, I actually have an op-ed that's going to be coming out about this. And it is looking at the fact that we have a tremendous amount of debt right now, and you know, and it's so big and it's so much potential to explode, similar to the way the subprime loan disaster caused a lot of the 2008 debacle. And I say that because what the Democrats are talking about doing is making it even worse by going ahead and either forgiving the loans or having them be zero interest or something that, again, creates a terrible moral hazard. Oh, I want some of that. But what about all the people that worked hard to pay their loans off? So I've come up with a free market way of solving that, getting it back into private banks as opposed to nationalized like they did in 2010 under Obama, and getting it to be something where people are paying a floating rate, something that floats with our current interest rates, which are much, much lower than what they are. A good example on the, so things like discounted home mortgages, healthcare. The biggest problem with healthcare was the way Obamacare was handled. We took a system that was actually pretty good and just needed some tweaking, and we totally destroyed a lot of really great things by taking away the free market. So we've got to bring the free market back, and I have a fireside chat on my website, kathylanding.com, Kathy with a K. If you'll go on there under news and media, and it actually has videos called fireside chats on each of these topics. I'll be adding the student loan one shortly, and each of them offer 3 different ways through free market solutions to solve a lot of these problems. And I'll bring these ideas with me. Yes, I'll have to work with those others, 1 out of 435, just need to try to help them focus like a laser beam on cutting the deficit and debt and getting us back into the Constitution and not have the federal government be the nanny state. Thank you.
There's very little the federal government can do better than a state government. Let the states have a little more power here, okay? The federal governments, they got their hand in everything, like Mike mentioned earlier with the Department of Education. And, the overreach is crazy. Look at how many people in here on Social Security, okay? How many of your children is there going to be any left for it? We've got a lot of work to do, folks. I'm here for the common man because I'm a common man. The Lowcountry is 60% blue collar, 40% white collar. That white collar turns out more than the blue collar in the primary. The conventional wisdom is you can't create new primary voters. Folks, I've already done it and set records, and I did it for Donald Trump in 16, and I did it across the country in 18 on those midterms, and it's what I'm doing right now. I'm building an army. I'm running an unconventional campaign. I'm going to run the leanest campaign in the country. When I win this thing, who's going to be in a better position to reform campaign finance? So you don't have to live in $1 million house and have 2 $75,000 cars and have a beach house or a mountain house. Let's use the veterans and the blue collar to get in there and clean out that house and send them packing. Men and women to stand on some principle. Not worried about your next trip to France or where your next vacation's coming or the addition on your house. I don't care about any of those things. I'm not lying to you. Listen, I'm not going there any other reason but to raise that bar and to move that needle for the Lowcountry. And I'm going to use the relationships that I've gained in Washington to do this. I called the president last month. He returned my call in 23 hours. Chris, what do you need? 2 weeks later, I was in the Oval Office. Okay? I have a direct line of communication with him. I knew the president was coming here 3 days before the media did. I sent him the information that said that the Coliseum held 13.5 thousand people, that the Volvo Center held 10.5, and I sent him the information on Latson. I said, please come to the Lowcountry, sir. The Lowcountry needs you. We are the most prosperous and we are the most populous district in the state, and we need you here because we're trying to heal our district. It's been fractured, and we don't need outside influences coming in trying to pick our leadership. It needs to be picked by the citizens of the Lowcountry. Thank you.
So let me jump right into this because I'm glad Kathy picked this question because something Chris just said, it doesn't get any more blue collar than right here. I'm like a blue collar poster child, from a technician working with his hands, went into engineering, went into ownership, and now retired, and I'm only 53 years old. That's the American dream. The answer to this question that we read is no, 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 and no. The federal government being involved in mortgages, health care, student loans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, the federal government has no business in that business. Okay? Health care. Everybody talks about health care. That is not the business of the federal government. Let the free market do what it's supposed to do. If you own a business, John, here in Somerville, and you want to give your employees health insurance that we used to be able to do until it got too expensive, you have very limited that you can go to now, like 1 or 2. If there's somebody in Boise, Idaho that has what your employees need and what you can afford, where is the federal government's responsibility in telling you no? That's none of their business. If you let the business world, let the free market, let the entrepreneurs, let the men and women who own business do what they do, America will flourish. We see it. We see it, but it's getting clouded by democratic socialism at every corner, and it has to be stopped. The taxes. Real quickly, I'm going to tell you about taxes. I'm the only candidate who has a written tax plan that as soon as filing stops on the 30th of March, we're going to roll that out. Our tax plan on a federal level eliminates the federal income tax, period, and switches to a fairer, not fair, but fairer tax system. I'm meeting in Columbia next week with 3 state legislators. I put one together for South Carolina, ending their state income tax and moving to a flatter tax. The whole nexus of that is so the workers of America can put more in their paycheck and realize the American dream faster, not continually enabling the federal government.